Hello and good morning, Lancaster. It's Wednesday of week 3 and we're back with more news and more entertainment.
On today's show, we'll be talking about the innovation hub scheme run by the university.
We've also got short stories on the engineering building, a to move to the on-campus pharmacy and a small campus.
So don't go anywhere, stay tuned for more reporting on Lancaster. Hello, I'm Justin Chow and
I'm Jessica Beard. Now there are 6,500 students living in campus accommodation. Of these, only 22 people are registered to vote as of last week. That's not very many, is it?
That's not a lot, is it? That's quite a small number. Previously, the university automatically registers students in bulk before the upcoming election. However, the changes to the UK legislation mean that all students have to register individually.
Now, with only 0.3% of the students on campus registered to vote, we sent Lizzie out to the square to see just how many students know if they're registered and how to do so.
Can I ask you a quick question? Are you registered to vote at all?
Yes.
And will you be voting in the general election?
Yes.
So, guys, are any of you registered to vote at all?
Yeah. I think so.
Do you know who your local politician is?
I don't know.
No. Is it local to here?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Can I ask you a quick question? Are you registered to vote?
No.
Do you know how to register to vote?
Online?
Do you know where?
No.
So, girls, are you registered to vote?
No.
Are you registered to vote?
No.
Do you know how to register?
Not a clue.
Do you know that in order to vote you have to register?
Yes.
Just a bit of quick knowledge, really. Are you registered to vote?
No.
Do you know how to register to vote?
Yes.
So can I ask you a question? Are you registered to vote?
Yes, I am. Yes.
And how long have you been registered?
I think I did it over the summer.
And how easy was the process?
It was really easy, actually. Yeah, didn't take very long.
Now that's very interesting, isn't it, that such a small proportion of students have registered to vote. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, well, as you said, there's only 22, which, considering the whole number of students that are on campus, is quite small. But there are a lot of reasons why that might be the case. For example, a lot of students who live on campus are international students. International students can't vote. Again, you don't have to vote at this address. A lot of people will register at home. If you think, for example, if you're in your final year, what sort of difference are you going to make if you vote now here? Like, you're not going to live here for that much longer.
That's
so you might want to
true.
vote elsewhere. So you might not be registered here, you might be registered somewhere else. But probably the main reason why is that there's been a change in sort of voting registration laws.
Yeah, now we'll talk about that in a second. For now, I think it's time for the news headlines, isn't it?
it is time for the news headline. I would imagine so, yes.
Yeah, now going back to what we were just saying, 22 people are registered for the upcoming election. Now, according to figures recently seen by Scan, 22 students living on university campus are currently registered to vote in the May 2015 general elections. These statistics may prove damaging to LUSU, who have made a commitment to improving political engagement on campus. The campus currently houses approximately 6,500 students, meaning only around 0.3% of potential voters on campus have registered. The small number of eligible voters has been blamed on a change in registration laws. The new laws in place for the upcoming election requires potential voters to register individually, whereas for previous elections they could be registered in bulk by the university. Nevertheless, these statistics do not take into account students registered to vote at their home address outside of the university or international students on campus who cannot vote.
Pharmacy moving into central campus. After contact from the NHS, LUSU have set up the campaign Move the Pharmacy to Central Campus. They'll have until this Wednesday to collect as many comments as possible to send to the NHS. favouring the movement of the university's pharmacy from its current location in Berwick House to a location in Central Campus. According to the NHS discussions that have taken place recently discussing the issue of the provision of pharmaceutical services at the university, believing there is a need for pharmacy on a campus site. As a result, President Laura Clayson and VP Welfare Community Mia Scott have set up the campaign Move the Pharmacy to the Central Campus and are encouraging people to like their Facebook page, which currently has over 700 likes and comments as to why they are in support of the move. On Friday week 2, the campaign travelled around campus and students and staff were pictured holding a board that says, "I want the pharmacy in the centre of campus," to show their support.
Now, Laura Clayson withholding rent and fee rise. LUSU President Laura Clayson has admitted to withholding information about the rises in tuition fees for some students and 2.5% rise in campus rent. Clayson decided not to tell any other student representatives about these rises until University Council papers were made, 3 weeks after initially becoming aware of these possible changes. However, by the time other students had been made aware of these changes, they had been confirmed and approved, leaving the student union unable to campaign effectively against these increases as the decision had already been made. Debating the issue in Union Council on Thursday, week 2, Clayson stated that she kept the information confidential as she believed it would be the best way to effect change by keeping the university's trust. She went on further by saying, "I thought I would be listened to, and I thought that if I went public, I wouldn't have a chance at constructing a dialogue." Later apologised for not sharing the information.
And student suffers head injury in a climbing accident. On Saturday, a Lancaster University student suffered head injuries after falling 40 feet whilst climbing in the Lake District. The Lancaster Guardian reported the Patterdale Mountain Rescue were called out just before 11 a.m. on Saturday to the Eagle Craig area to the west of Helivin, where the fall took place. A roaming 909 call was made to the climber and their friends. Although poor mobile coverage meant that the mountain rescue could gather little information, however, 8 rescuers set off to the scene and met the climber and his friends descending down into Grisdale Valley. The 21-year-old student was found having sustained several cuts and bruises. He was assessed by the team and taken back to their base before he was transferred to the hospital by ambulance.
It's not very nice, is it?
No, that's not, and that's a massive word to say. I have no
I
idea how to say
know,
it.
Helvellyn.
Helvellyn.
What a name.
Helvellyn, that's
Helvellyn.
it. Southerner,
There we
so
go.
sorry.
We need you here to tell us how to say it.
Absolutely. That's horrible. Oh, God,
Yeah.
40 feet. That's quite a fall, isn't it?
Yeah, and we forgot to introduce you. I'm very sorry. We're joined by Henry Clark, the news correspondent, as you might say, from Scan. So, yes, going back to the vote registration.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a reflection on the lack of interest in our age group, or is it Lancaster University students in particular?
Possibly. I think it's a lot of people think it's quite a while to be election ready, but it's May, which isn't actually that long ago. There's not much more than sort of 3 months. It's basically this time next term, which when you think about it, is not very long away. So a lot of people haven't quite thought about it and thought about what they're necessarily going to do yet. Again, often students have relatively poor turnout. That's why often people say we're not listened to when it comes to politics, is because old people get listened to because they vote. We don't necessarily get listened to quite so much because we don't vote quite so often. And LUSU have said we really want to get people engaged and get people voting, but these sort of statistics have put a bit of a downer on that. But they're sort of using them as a reason really to go out and try and get people engaged.
Okay, so what do you think LUSU would do to address this apathy sort of generally amongst students?
Well, they've done quite a bit of campaigning just around university so far, and they're going to keep doing that. Like for example, last week they have a cow out. You can always tell it's sort of some sort of democratic purposes happening when the cow is out in the
Hasn't
middle
the
of
cow
campus.
gotten democracy or something like that
Yeah.
written on the back? Yeah.
This is democratic cow, but they used that sort of quite the novelty effect of that to join a lot of people, and they were talking about making sure that people knew how to get registered as much as wanting to get registered.
Yeah, because is that the problem? Do people just not know how to get registered?
Possibly. I think, people possibly think they are registered when they're not as well. That's the problem with not necessarily know what circumstances around it. As has been mentioned before, there have been changes in the law. So the university used to bulk register people. So for the last election people might have voted for, the Europeans or the local one, you would just be registered by the university.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't even have to think about it.
So is LUSU responsible for people knowing?
They should try and make sure people know, yeah, but I think everyone should it's their vote is their responsibility, really.
Yeah.
If at the end of it you think, oh, I didn't vote, but I wish I could have, or I wish I had known how to, then you should really take that on yourself. Although if people don't know how and they're not told how by those around them at the university and in the Students' Union, then they should sort of have done more to improve that.
So just for the people who actually don't know how to register to vote, can you tell us a bit about how to register?
The easiest way to register is basically to go online. If you literally put in how to vote, how to register into any search engine, you'll find it straight away. I think it's, I can't remember exactly, it's something .gov, but basically on one of those websites will make it quite easy for you to do it. You can also go and email your local council or send letters to them, or go in and personally do it. But it's a relatively easy process and relatively quick.
I mean, do you get penalised if you don't register?
Yeah, there was some. I read something recently about them wanting to penalise people who don't. Although
you might have to pay a small amount or something.
Yeah, although I don't necessarily know if that was entirely confirmed.
I heard there was an £85 fine.
Oh, we've all heard different things.
Yeah, I had 85, but I'm not sure if that's right.
Right, that's something to
Either
Google.
way, there's plenty of reason to vote, even if there's the deterrent or just trying to get your sort of opinion in on the sort of local issues.
Now, moving on to other things to do with LUSU Council. Now, Laura Clayson did know about the fee rises and the rent rises. So what's happening with that?
Yeah, the issue was she knew and didn't tell anyone, and the whole debate has been basically whether or not she should have told people.
Yeah.
She knew, but was held in a position of confidentiality, which was, she said it was difficult.
She knew a couple of weeks before, didn't she?
Yeah, she knew 3 weeks before, but then the issue was she was held in a position where she had to keep it confidential, and it's all whether or not if she'd have whistleblown it and told people whether or not that would have stopped the increases happening, or whether or not if they hadn't have stopped them happening and all that had happened was they'd had less respect for her and given her that, and she'd have lost trust, then that would have had a negative effect. So I think
it's hard to know, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions surrounding it. Or personally, I think possibly she did the right thing, but then there is always the element of if the university thinks, oh, we can do stuff and have the people at the table, we can tell them it's confidential, and they don't do anything, then nothing is going to get confronted by the student union, and they'll just keep trying to pass stuff which we don't like. And there will come a point where you'll have to say, no, I'm just going to tell people and break the confidentiality. So it's a bit, if you're not going to do it now, when are we going to do it? And you're going to have to do it at some point with a big issue.
I mean, what did the other members of LUSU think in the student union?
Well, they're relatively sort of opposites, really, when you listen to them in council, for example. Damon Fairley, VP Union Development, he was very supporting of Laura and sort of understood what she went through, and definitely felt that he personally had benefited because, for example, he got a position on the college review panel when there had only been one before, and he said to me that he thinks that if Laura had told people and stuff, they wouldn't have had that, so they wouldn't have had an impetus in other areas of the university, which they therefore, you'd hope have larger improvements in certain areas. Although, for example, Ronnie Rollins, who is VP Campaigns and Comms, he basically thought that it was, you have to have this attitude where you will be willing to break confidentiality in order to make sure students know what is in their best interest.
I mean, do you think students could wonder whether she's not representing their best interest? Could they question her on that basis?
Obviously they can question her because this information was important to students, and students obviously felt, for example, when they did go out in occupation, there were students who were really angry about the changes that had been made. They would have wanted to know as soon as that decision had been made. And there's also, when you consider that, when Laura Clayson knew the decision hadn't actually been made, so you had a position where you could oppose it. Whereas later on, when we knew about it, by that point, the decision had already been made and affirmed, so we couldn't actually do anything.
That's true, but it's also very hard on Laura, actually, in that sense that she's got a responsibility of representing her students, but at the same time, she's got a lot of pressure from the university themselves. And how does that how does that portray Laura as leader? What do you think? Like her being held responsible for
I think like she's been a very good president this year so far, to be honest. And she's sort of coped very well with quite a stressful position, and she's been very frank about it. She sort of wrote a piece for Scan where she's very frank about the fact that she's had issues with stress while she's been doing it. It's been a very difficult position and difficult time, and that's one of the things that was talked a lot about in council. It's people who you do regularly get people who have to hold this confidential information and have to hold this stress and these issues that surround it, but don't have any support. And it's probably as important to ensure that people have support and awareness of the decisions to make in a position like this, so they know whether or not it is worth telling people or worth keeping it to themselves, and support around that rather than just leaving someone quite isolated and someone who is almost at the privy of whatever the university tries to achieve.
Yeah, it must have been a very big decision for her to make.
That must have been really hard.
Anyway.
I can't imagine being in her shoes. It would be,
it's difficult to choose what to do and to decide what's best for the students.
Yeah, and I think even she seems like almost like she's relatively undecided whether or not she did do the right thing.
Yeah.
It's always going to be hard.
It's one of those things that you don't really know for sure what was right and what was wrong.
You can't please everybody,
No,
so...
exactly. Anyway, thank you for coming to talk to us
My pleasure.
today.
Thanks very much.
Now, as you'll all probably have noticed, the library is undergoing a £15 million refurbishment, which will be finishing in Lent term 2015-2016.
Oh, that's ages away.
It is a long time away.
That's this term next year, isn't it?
No, I'm not going to see it.
Oh, hopefully I will be, but... But the refurbishment will improve the provision of IT in the library with more than 270 computers available for use and allow for a lighter, more open area. There will even be a tree.
There'll even be a tree.
Inside the courtyard in the library.
I'm not quite sure how that's going to work.
Neither.
No.
That's going to be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, we're now going to show you some of the photos of what the library is going to look like when it's done. Now, it is looking very light, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's looking very spacious and open.
Oh, I like that,
What do you think to it?
It's very... Oh, it looks very professional. Oh.
It does, actually. I think it's pretty exciting.
It is.
And there we go. That's
the tree.
There's the tree.
That's the tree.
I mean, what's that all about? What happens when the leaves fall off?
Yeah, I know, that's going to be a hassle for the cleaners to clean.
Oh, but it looks good, though, doesn't it?
It does look quite good. I like the little courtyard.
It makes it very green.
Green, very green,
yeah.
a very happy place, actually. Student participation has been key in this project, and along with other schemes, the ISS has developed Lancaster University's Innovation Hub.
The Innovation Hub is designed to allow students to submit ideas, and then the ideas are voted on to show the most popular.
The ideas range from a poppy room,
A puppy room.
poppy room, in the library to the development of Minecraft campus. We're now joined by Rob from the ISS Innovation team.
So, Rob, a Minecraft campus, what's that all about?
Yeah, absolutely. It started as quite a random idea that someone put by us, but obviously I'm not sure how much you know about Minecraft, but it's one of the world's biggest played games now.
Yeah.
Sort of upwards of 17 million users, I think. And I think the idea came that we wanted to create a virtual campus within the game. Oh,
like
in fact,
this?
there you are.
Oh, wow.
So that's we started with Boland Tower because obviously tallest building on campus to try and get some scale.
Started, yeah.
And we've done pretty much the whole of the square now.
Wow, that must
that's all
take
come along.
ages.
And the ISS building, obviously, so
Yeah,
you
can't
can see
miss that one
coming
out.
together, yeah.
So that would take a very long time, though.
Yeah, it's taken. We've been
Surely.
working on it since the start of the first term.
Okay.
So and only got to this point. So
It's like playing a game, though, isn't
yeah,
it?
absolutely. Yeah. And everything that you see is built from proper floor plans
Oh, that's
provided
the
by
learning
facilities.
zone.
Yeah, the full learning zone. Everything's to
Ah.
scale.
It's looking good.
as you would
can see
imagine.
the edge of...
The university being really. So yeah, it's pretty detailed as well.
So how have you developed this, sort of?
It's completely student-led, actually. So,
Is it?
yeah, we pulled together a team originally from the Gaming Society, who obviously already had an interest in Minecraft and the gaming world. So they work once or twice a week together. I think there's about 10 of them now, and they actually pull together every single floor plan from the university and
Wow,
and
that is
physically
great.
build the campus. So yeah.
Oh, that's be
going
really nice
well.
to see.
Yes.
Do we know when it'll be done?
Well, the square's almost finished now, and then we're going to open that up to a wider audience to try and help us move it along. But we had an ambitious target of 3 months, but it's probably already taken us that to get to this point.
It must
so.
take ages to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I think probably a year will be
Yeah.
the realistic timescale of finishing it. So.
What are the other ideas looking like?
Well, we've got about over 100 now on the platform, all completely student-led. Like you say, it ranges from anything from puppy rooms during exam stress time. I don't know if you've seen the Amazon lockers that are on campus. That was something we helped bring forward. We've got things around peer-to-peer software support. So a lot of students mentioned struggling with particular pieces of software that are relevant to their course, and having perhaps a third year help them get through that when they're using it, that kind of thing. So we're creating an online marketplace for students as well to sell and exchange books and DVDs,
That's interesting.
any particular items that you might want to leave behind, that kind of thing. So it's a full range from that to Minecraft to, we've even had ideas about duck cam, having a camera on some of the wildlife, things like that, but obvious issues with that.
Everyone loves the ducks when they're walking around. Oh, brilliant.
The campus ducks. I mean, ideas like the puppy room, they sound very far-fetched and a bit crazy, but other universities have actually got them.
Yeah, I think a few. I think Durham quite recently did it during exam time. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. It's more.
Is it looking likely though?
Well, we've struggled to find the puppies at the minute. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the charities that can do it are quite overwhelmed and obviously quite stretched at the minute financially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for them to take the time and bring the dogs here and supervise and that kind of thing.
That's true.
So we never know, but it's
We'll see,
it's a
we'll
stretch.
see.
Yeah.
So how do you think it's going to help student experience within the library?
I think the whole, particularly in the Jolt project that we're running at the moment for the library, is it's completely student-led. So everything that's come forward is about student ideas and making that environment even better than it already is, especially when the refit has come forward. So I think for the actual project, there's just over 100 ideas again for that project now. So. And again, I think that ranges from anything from sort of relaxation rooms, sleep pods,
Sleep pods.
That'd be great.
Kindle loans. There's a whole range of ideas, and they're going to get shortlisted to about 20 odd ideas, and then another shortlist down to 6 sort of finalists.
So you're going to shortlist sort of big ideas, or just the small ones, like a vending machine?
No,
or
absolutely,
anything?
absolutely everything is going to go through the shortlist. We do have a few ideas which are, if they're really easy to implement, we'll just do. And I think there's a sort of £50 Amazon voucher for prize for that, because there's a £1,000 prize, for the overall winner as well. So hopefully quite interesting prize.
Getting people to
that's a
submit
very-
ideas.
Again, it closes in a couple of days. Actually, I think it closes on Friday. So.
Get
maybe
your
we should get
ideas.
our
We'll
brain
get thinking.
Yeah, we'll get thinking.
Straight after this. What other things are the Innovation Hub doing?
Well, like I say, we've got a range of projects. So obviously based in ISS, we're ideally looking for digital projects or projects that can have a digital twist, but we can help with that. So any idea that come forward, we can try and find a way to make that happen, maybe through Lancaster or through a small web app or through the existing websites that are there now. So we're absolutely open to any ideas, and any other ideas that come in, like puppy rooms and sleep pods, Amazon lockers, whatever it is, we can sort of help refer to different departments.
Can people keep sending in these ideas after Jolt the Library is finished?
Yeah, so Jolt the Library is just a very particular project for the library itself. The Innovation Hub is constantly running, so we're always looking for new ideas to take forward. And Jolt will hopefully become a series of mini events, really, for different parts of the campus.
So it's just the start of something great.
Yeah, this is the start of something great, hopefully. One big idea to start the rest. So.
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
We'll see how we get on.
Okay, and are you getting involved yourself? Have you submitted any ideas?
No, it's student only, so we're staying impartial, and I'm part of the judging process as well.
Oh, okay, so you can't judge for your
No,
own
I
idea.
can't judge my own idea to anything.
What's your favourite so far? Can you tell us?
Oh, I can't tell at all.
You
No, you can
can't.
go online and have a look at them. They're all available. So.
Because I really want a puppy room.
Thankfully, the library are making the final decision. So
where can we find that? What?
If you just go to jolt.lancaster.ac.uk, you'll find everything on there. Yeah.
Okay,
Brilliant.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
That's about all we've got time for this week. But before we go, here's the rundown of events coming up over the next 7 days.
The LUSU Overseas drop-in session is taking place today from 12 till 4 at County Bar.
Matt Edmondson Sugar Takeover gets underway on Saturday. You can buy tickets on the Sugar House Facebook page, or as always, we'll be doing Sugar TV.
And there are a variety of Just Play events taking place throughout the week. Visit lusu.co.uk to find out more.
And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.